Hello students, welcome back to OOAC class. In today's session, we will continue our discussion on classes and objects by learning about UML class notation. A UML class diagram represents the structure of a class using different compartments. So this is the most common standard UML notation for representing a class. It has three compartments: name compartment, attribute compartment, or operation compartment. Remember students, in our previous video session, we have covered the object notation where we had only two different compartments. But in the class notation, we are introducing the third compartment called as operation compartment. First one is called as name compartment. Always here, the class name should be in a camel case. It begins with an uppercase letter and then it can have mixed upper and lowercase letters. Special symbols such as punctuation marks, dashes, underscores should be always avoided. We should always avoid abbreviations. For example, deposit account is always preferable instead of DPSTACCNT. So any class name should be clearly understandable by the customers. The next is called as attribute compartment. This is a common syntax to represent an attribute. First, it has visibility, followed by name of the attribute, which is mandatory, and then we can have multiplicity and then data type of the particular attribute followed by the initial value. The visibility can have symbols such as plus, minus, hash, and then tilde. So for this plus, it is called as public visibility. That is, all public attributes can be represented using plus symbol. Minus means private attributes, hash protected, and tilde is called as package visibility. Attributes represented in the class is visible to all the classes under that particular package. Multiplicity is used to represent number of things. For example, if you want to represent any array, then you can use multiplicity relationship. In the following example, there is a string by the name address which has three values in it. So it is represented as address of 3 colon data type, which is called as string. Even you can use range of values within the multiplicity relationship. For example, name is composed of 2 or more string and email address is composed of either one string or null. So the range has minimum value followed by 2 dot symbols and then followed by maximum value. If the maximum value is undefined, you can use star notation. We also have stereotypes, which extend the meaning of UML elements by adding additional semantic information. They are written inside double angle brackets and help provide extra details such as anchor information or special characteristics of an attribute. The next is called as operation compartment. So the syntax for representing any operation goes like this. First we'll be having visibility followed by the name of an operation, open parenthesis, and then each and every parameter name followed by a colon and then parameter type. So for all the parameters, we used to have the same representation and followed by closing parenthesis and then colon followed by return type. So the name, parameter values and return type represents the operation signature. Another important concept is the difference between class scope and instance scope. A class scope feature belongs to the class itself. It is shared by all objects of that class. In a programming language such as Java, these are called as static members. Next is instance scope. This feature belongs to each and every individual object. Every object maintains its own copy of instance attributes and performs operations on its own data. The representation of the instance scope and class scope is held within the class diagram itself. For example, in this picture, you can see the class diagram of bank account object. It has two attributes with private visibility. The name of the attribute is account number of integer type and count of integer type with an initial value called as 0. So here, attributes which are not underlined is called as instance scope and attributes which are underlined is called as class scope. So the count attribute belongs to all the objects which are declared under bank account class. But account number which is dependent for that particular object set. Similarly for the operations. All the underlined operation names are under class scope and not underlined attributes are for instance scope. Understanding this difference between instance and class scope is essential because it helps developers decide whether the information should be shared among all the objects or maintained separately for each and every object. Finally, let us discuss object construction and destruction. Whenever an object is created, a special method called as constructor is automatically executed. Constructor initializes the object and prepare it for its use. A class can have multiple constructors with a different parameter list. This concept is called as constructor overloading. A constructor without any parameter is called as default constructor. You can see in this diagram, the class name is again represented in the method name, which is called as constructor. It has public visibility with one argument. Similarly, when an object is destroyed, a destructor is invoked to release the resources occupied by that particular object. So the representation is a tilde symbol followed by the class name and parameter list. Although destructors are used differently across programming languages, they play an important role in memory management. From a placement perspective, UML class diagrams, visibility, multiplicity, static and instant members, and constructors are very common interview topics. You may ask questions like design a UML class diagram for applications such as library management system, student management system, or ATM system. They also frequently ask conceptual questions such as what is the difference between class scope and instance scope? Why are constructors required? What is multiplicity in UML? How do visibility symbols improve software design? A strong understanding of these concepts will also help you in Java programming, object-oriented design interviews, and software architecture discussion. To summarize, in today's session, we have explained the UML class notation, including name, attribute, operation compartments, visibility, multiplicity, stereotypes, classes and instance scope with the differences between them, and constructors and destructors. These concepts are essential for creating effective UML class diagrams and designing robust object-oriented software systems. Thank you all. See you in the next class.